Whoa, is my hair out? Okay, so I am back, and I thought it fitting to shave my head. I shave my head every week, maybe twice a week, but I thought it fitting to make sure that my head was clean shaved for tonight's review. Alien 3 or Alien Squared, however you see it, is the review for tonight. It is not. It does not qualify for something in the book. Well, it repeats, the sequel, but I did not qualify it as something in the book. I want to give a few disclaimers real quick. These videos are completely unedited and unfiltered, so whatever I say is what I say, and if I get tripped up on something, I get tripped up on something. And if you have your kids in the room, you probably want to ask them to leave because I do say adult things, or put your headphones in. And spoilers will happen, but have no fear. I will put a list of movies underneath this video and I'll have a header that says spoilers, so you know what movies I give spoilers away for, what movies I simply just quote or just mention, because I'm always talking about plenty of other films. So without further ado, Alien Squared or Alien 3, however you say it. I really love this film, and the only reason I can't give it a 10, and I'm one of the rare people that actually really, really like this movie. It's so beautifully done. The only reason why I can't give it a 10 is because the computer animation is horrible. Horrible. That computer alien is just real bad. So there's no way you can give you can give a perfect score to a film with something that anyway, moving on. Year released 1992, so computer animation was still semi-new. This was, pre Jurassic Park, which blew our minds when it came to computer animation. And even now, if you go back and watch Jurassic Park, you're going, "Wow, that's dated. It's not so great." Some of the dinosaurs look shadowy and not so great. But anyway, running time 1 hour and 54 minutes. Genre action, horror, sci-fi. So this definitely goes back to horror. Rated R. Starring a bunch of people. Sigourney Weaver, Charles Dance. I think Charles Dance is fantastic in this movie. Lance Henriksen shows up a couple of times. Pete Postlethwaite, but before anybody really knew who he was, so he has a smaller part. And Charles S. Dutton is fantastic. He is so amazing. If it weren't for the fact that this were a horror film, I would definitely say he deserved an Academy Award, at least a nomination for this role. It's amazing. I love it. I love his acting in this film. He's a standout in this film for sure. For sure. Directed by David Fincher, who's done some great work in the past, and I think he did a fantastic job with this movie. I love his style in this film. And whoever he picked to be his, hold on, maybe I should look it up. Alex Thompson. Director of photography, who did the cinematography for this film. Blah, 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 blah. No, I have not had a drink. It's just I'm tongue tied and I don't know why. Alex Thompson. Oh, unfortunately, he passed away. I did not know that. Oh wow, he did Legend, and you know how much I love Legend. Okay, this man, I mean, Alien 3, he did the original. Did he do the original? No, this is camera and electrical department, cinematographer. Okay, I've seen quite a few things that he's done. The standout is Legend and Labyrinth. Wow. Okay. He's been around a long time. He was born in 1929, died in 2007. Poor guy. So this movie, honestly, the cinematography is gorgeous. The camera angles, a lot of the camera movements, the coloring in so many different places is beautiful. The lighting is wonderful. He did such a fantastic job with this. I had to mention him. Produced by Gordon Carroll, David Giler, Walter Hill. I love Walter Hill. He's done a lot of great stuff. Written by David Giler, Walter Hill, and Larry Ferguson. Those are the ones who did the screenplay, so I wanted to mention them. Music by Elliot Goldenthal. He did a really good job. I like the music for this one. The date I watched this is November 1st. You're not getting the video until the 2nd, but I watched it on November 1st. My rating, I've already said, 4 out of 5 or 9 out of 10, however you look at it. 4.5 out of 5 or 9 out of 10, however you look at it. I watched the director's version. Again, with these 3 films, Alien, Aliens, and Alien Squared, or Alien 3, however you look at it, I watched the director's versions, and they are so much better. So if you've seen if all you've seen is the theatrical version of Alien 3 or Alien Square, I'm going to stop saying that. Alien 3. If you've only seen the theatrical version and you don't like it and you're wondering why I give it why in the hell does it give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars? It makes no sense. Okay, watch the director's version. I think it's much better. I enjoy it so much more. It has so much heart to it. Anyway, it's the better one, and I don't even remember the original theatrical version and what is not in it because I watch the director's version all the time. So I like starting off, again, like I said, with Aliens. Starting off, we start right where we left off, and they're showing the escape pod from the end of Aliens. Even though we don't know what time we're at, we're right back on the ship with them. And like I said before, back to a horror feel. I love that. It's not just go action. This is actually, they take their time and make it look like a horror, like it should be, which I enjoy. I love the idea of like a mostly completely abandoned planet that used to be a male penal colony, and now there's a handful left. I like that idea. It was a really good idea. Whoever had that idea did a good job. Rumor control. So the superintendent, I got to be honest. Like what is the guy's name? The actor's name? Brian Glover. Okay, nothing against him because he's a great actor. He does a good job, but he's annoying as hell. Fucking annoying. And I think that was the point. He's supposed to be annoying. You're not supposed to like him, of course. So I like that first part where he's like, rumor control, and he tells her, here are the facts. And he says, Ripley or somebody crashed and blah, blah, blah. But then you don't get the feel, you get this annoying feel from him, but you don't get the feel that he's very respected. He's semi-feared because he is, the superintendent, but he's not 100% respected. Right away, you already know Dylan is the leader and the one they respect, Charles S. Dutton. Not only because Charles S. Dutton, like right away, brings this powerhouse feel to the character. I've seen him play other characters that are not this powerful and in control and in charge and self-assured. I've seen him play other characters that are not like that. So this is definitely a persona he brought to this character that's amazing, that makes this character fantastic, a standout in this film. Dylan is just amazing, and Charles S. Dutton does it perfect. Now we play the game. How old is Ripley? Here's where we don't know how old Ripley is. And I think I have a note a little bit later on about that because we have no idea how long she was adrift in the escape pod. I love that this film is so artistic. Again, like I was saying, the camera shots and things like that. This is a very artistic piece. I don't think David Fincher was like, let's just make a horror. He actually made a beautiful piece of art, and all the coloring and shading. You know, his DOP, director of photography, his cinematographer did a fantastic job. We as the audience, because the whole beginning sequence, we as the audience know that there was an alien on board. So there is no ambiguity whatsoever. I mean, it's very clear as day that the alien sabotaged the other cryo suit, or cryo sleeping pods, whatever you want to call them, cryo whatever tubes. So we know that it's an alien. Now we want Ripley to find out, and we're like, oh, good, you know, she's not letting it go. She's pursuing it, and I appreciate that, even though we already know, we know she doesn't, and she's trying to find the truth, and I like that. It creates a good suspense. Cholera. This is why I have this suspicion that Ripley is now hundreds of years old. Okay, so from the first film, she's probably in her late 20s, and then she's in space for 57 years, so we can assume she's in her 80s, 70s, 80s. I would say if she's in space for 57 years and she's in her mid or late 20s in the film, then she's in her early 80s in Aliens, technically. When she says the possible contagion of cholera, and Clemens is like, cholera? There hasn't been a case of cholera in over 200 years. That's what gives me the thought that she is over 200 years old. She's now, you know, close to 300 years old. We won't ever really know. I don't think they never really say, but that's what makes me think that part about cholera. Again, the lighting, the beautiful color and the lighting in multiple parts. But I bring it up now because during the autopsy, it's so beautiful that you never see it, but it's being lit from underneath, and it's got that clinical blue look to it. It's very well done. I love the choice of that color during the autopsy, and then the blood. Like, wait. How long has she been dead? I guess she's in cryo sleep. Okay, I guess she's been semi-preserved. And I was like, why is there blood? How long has she been dead? But I guess if she's been preserved in the cryo and then you cut her open, then maybe there would be some blood. I don't know. This version, like I said, the director's version is so much better. This version, the alien impregnates an ox. So they show them trying to move the EEV and take stuff out of it with the ox. So it makes sense that it's an ox that ends up getting impregnated and not a dog. I liked it better this way than the theatrical release. And then when it comes out, it makes sense that it's on all fours, because I think the alien takes on certain aspects of the host, and I love that about it. This is the first time we kind of see that, because up until now we've only seen human hosts. The very first alien that we see, not alien, but the very first alien life form that we see in Alien is this big creature in that chair, remember? And its chest is burst out, but we never get to see that alien come from that alien life form. We don't get to see what that one looks like ever, and that's fine. All we ever get to see are aliens that have come from a human host, so they look humanoid, and that makes sense. I like that whoever wrote this, whether it was Fincher's idea, whether it was, you know, one of the other guys who wrote it, I like the idea that since it comes from a four-legged beast, it is on all fours. For the most part, it's smart. I really like that about this one. The cremation. Okay, so the whole funeral and cremation of Newt and Hicks. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's so much beautiful emotion. It takes a horror film to a different level because there is that real hint of a great drama in this scene. I mean, leave it to David Fincher. I'm not just going to do a straight horror film. I'm really gonna shake it up and make a great film. And he does. He really does. So this whole cremation scene where they're cutting back and forth between, and the director's version, it's coming out of an ox. So they're cutting back and forth between it coming, being the alien being birthed out of the ox and the cremation of Newt and Hicks. And of course, it's Clements first, but Dylan. Oh my God, this is one of those amazing parts. One of my favorite parts. Why the innocent? Why the sacrifice? Why the pain? That whole monologue is beautiful, and Charles S. Dutton does such a great job. And I love the cuts and back and forth between, and what you hear, the music, the beautiful music that Elliot Goldenthal did in that part is so emotional and so beautiful when he says, "We commit these bodies with a glad heart," and it really makes you want to cry. It's such a beautiful scene. When that happened, when the funeral, and then obviously the alien gets born, and he's talking about within every seed there's a promise of a flower. In death there is also life. Such a great, very, very well written scene, brilliantly acted, and very well edited. It's great. I love that part. That first part where he goes, disharmony. The first part we see Charles S. Dutton's character, Dylan, be the leader. The first time we actually see him be the leader is when he talks to the guys about Golic. I don't care. He's one of us. You guys have to go out with him. I don't want any more disharmony. I don't want any more, fuckery. I get you guys don't like him. It doesn't matter. We're all the same. And I love that part. You get a sense of he's not just you've already gotten a sense that he's very empathetic and emotional. But then right after that, Ripley comes in, and then he's like, "You don't want to know me, lady. I'm a rapist of women. I'm a murderer and a rapist of women." That's what it is. And you get another side to him. There are so many levels to this character, and Dutton does it beautifully. I can't say enough about Dutton in this film. It's just amazing. And I love all the little layers to his character. And the director's version, there is so much more of him. There are multiple scenes that are extended, or I believe there might be one or two scenes that are not even in the original with him. He's so damn good, and I love there's more of him in the director's version. We tolerate anybody, even the intolerable. So I love that part where they know that she's shaking things up. But we accept you anyway. It on principle, he says. It's on principle. It creates a different type of tension. We've got that tension with the alien because we as the audience know it's there. Ripley doesn't know it's there yet. She accepts that Newt did not die from an alien, and so she believes that she's fine and the alien is gone, but we as the audience know. So we've got two different sets of intense storylines going on, where she's shaking things up and she's in a colony full of rapers and murderers and molesters, and we as the audience know the alien is there too. Charles Dance. So there's two Charleses, a beautiful Charles Dance and a fantastic fantastic Charles S. Dutton. So Charles Dance does such a great job in this movie. I love his character. He's brilliant. I love his smooth voice and his accent, and those few parts where he's explaining things to Ripley is so well done. The only problem, my only complaint about those scenes is the volume is way down compared to the rest of the film. So if you don't have, surround sound or a sound bar, you really got to turn it up. But those scenes are brilliant. They're very, very well done. I love when he's explaining things to her. I'm not a prisoner. And she said, well, what about the barcode on the back of your head? She says, well, that does deserve an explanation, but not right now. So then we create intrigue about him. So we as the audience know the alien's there, but we've got to further the story on other levels because obviously Ripley doesn't know it's there, and we've got to keep that intrigue. We've got to keep that storyline going until she finds out, that the alien is there, and then we've got, a bigger movie. So I like that he's got these two storylines, even though we have to forget that she doesn't know. We as the audience know it's okay. So this part with Clemens is really cool, where you sleep together, and then she's like, oh no, is he a prisoner? And I love that it keeps us interested. The first murder, the burn. Oh, okay, yeah. So I like the first murder. It's real quick. I love the look of the alien. Oh my God, every time the alien is real, it's beautiful. Every time it's computer, it makes me want, it just looks bad. It looks, anyway. I've said plenty of these videos that I hate computer animation. I mean, it's gotten much, much better, but I hate when they rely on that when they can do it better. And all the times where the alien is actually physical, something they've created, special effects, look so much better than the computer parts. And this first murder scene with the head, the way it moves and the webbing on it, whatever it is, I think it's shedding one of its skins, its layers, as it gets bigger. It's really cool. I'm like, that looks so great. And he's in the hole or whatnot, and the guy thinks it's a dog, and he's looking, and it's just beautiful. The coloring, the makeup, everything is just gorgeous. And then it spits at him or whatever. And so then Clemens goes to check it out and sees the burn there. So Clemens suspects that Ripley knows what's going on, because that burn was the same burn that she found in the escape pod or whatnot. And then Ripley, when he tells Ripley suspects, but she needs proof. I gotta, get the radio from the EEV and see if yes, indeed, there was an alien on board or not. So I love that. It's really cool that they keep that tension there. Oh, the second attack. The second attack is pretty gruesome with the guys in the hot when they're setting out candles or whatnot. It's pretty gruesome, and I love it. It's what we're waiting for. That's the attack we're waiting for. That the alien really gets them, and the blood and the gruesome part of it. Here's the real horror part of it. I love that Golic is the only one that survives, and he's like he's crazy. Everybody thinks he's crazy anyway. We've already established the fact that most of them don't like him. So for him to be the only survivor of that attack and trying to tell them it's a dragon because he has no other frame of reference, and that's all he can think of, and they don't believe him. I love that. Bishop, oh, I like your new haircut. Yes, my haircut. I love that little line. That's so cute. It breaks up the seriousness of the situation. I like your new haircut. And then he confirms that yes, their alien was on board. And so now Ripley knows there's got to be an alien here. Like, now there's no question. And I love the special effects there. It's not computer, it's animatronic, and it looks really good. He's supposed to look all fucked up, and it looks great, and it's fantastic. I like that part a lot. When we first see Ripley when she's sick, do we suspect that something's up with her or not? I don't remember the first time I watched it if I suspected that something was up with her when I first saw her sick. I don't know. Did I really suspect that she had one in her? I wasn't. Because the timing is all different. Excuse me. Normally when they're impregnated, they go... I mean, it was really quick with the other ones. So I don't know if I thought to myself, she's feeling sick. Is she also impregnated? Excuse me. I don't really remember. In an insane world, a sane man must appear insane. I like that line, Gallic. Gallic is actually pretty, he has a good head about him. He's just a little neurotic. And that's why nobody likes him. But he does have a smart head about him. He is conscious. He's also broken to a degree. He is, I wouldn't say crazy, but definitely neurotic. He's a little... Oh, Clemence's story. When Clemence finally tells her about his past, it is a very sad part, but it's also very well done. Charles Dance does a great job in that delivery of that while he's making the cocktail for her and things like that. And he's treating it very seriously, but also, this was a long time ago. I'm trying not to be emotional. This is something that happened, and her reaction to it is great. When he says, "Do you trust me?" and yeah, she gives him her arm. It's sad to see him go, Charles Dance, but he wasn't. Excuse me. It's sad to see that character go, Clemens. But to be honest, he wasn't the type of character that I think would have lasted throughout the film, and I'd rather him go then than try to carry him through the rest of the film. And it's fine. I don't know who made that decision, but it's fine. Oh, and that super famous shot. That's where that super famous... it's in the trailers. There's stills of it everywhere where the alien comes up to Ripley and she's freaking out and it's dripping and blah, blah, blah. And then it doesn't kill her. That's such a great scene. It's such a wonderful shot right there with it right there in her face. And she's freaking out. It's great. It's great. I am not sad to see the superintendent go. Right after that, okay, like a couple of minutes before I was saying, oh, it's so sad to see, Clemens go, but then when, like a couple minutes later, when it gets the superintendent, I'm like, okay, I'm not sad about that. Yeah, he's so annoying. I'm glad he's gone. No fucking way. I'm not the officer type. I just take care of my own. So Dylan, the fact that he says that just solidifies the fact that he's a great leader. He absolutely takes care of his own, and he should be one of the people in charge. He's like Hicks in Aliens, where he's a subtly powerful character, but we don't really see it until the progression of the film continues and he becomes more solidified in his leadership role. He may not be the leader. Actually, he kind of more or less is, even though they are all looking to Ripley, because Ripley knows what we're dealing with and blah, blah, blah. But I think he is definitely more of the leader. Everybody looks up to him way more than anybody else. Way more than 85. Whose idea was that? 85. That is too ridiculous and funny and just not something I expected in this script, really good idea. Oh, I love the part where, okay, so they're painting the ground or whatnot, and with that fire accelerant or whatever, that flammable liquid, and they're gonna force it into that steel, like toxic waste cage almost. And they're painting the ground and whatnot, and they're walking around with these sticks, and every time they open them, the package says "Do not jostle." I've never seen that on anything. Do not jostle. Anyway, I love the guy's. He's going up the ladder and he's got one in his mouth, and then he drops it, and the fucking thing is gonna set a fire. Okay, so I know. I love when he goes down for it, but he doesn't go all the way down for it. Like, dude, you could just take another couple of steps and then pick it up right next to you, but he doesn't. He reaches for the damn thing. Anyway, when the camera looks up, and he's reaching down for it, I love that the alien is right there. It's so cool. You see it just quick. It's just a quick shot of it, and you're like, holy shit. As if the situation with the accelerant, or with the fire stick or whatever, as if that situation wasn't intense enough, now you got the alien above and you're like, oh great, this is not going to go well. And then of course, he picks it up and he goes up and the alien gets him and he drops it and sets everything on fire. Oh my god, great, thanks a lot. But through all of that, I appreciate the fact that they didn't try to use computer fire. They used real fire, which is good. When they did Backdraft, Ron Howard said you just can't. They can't get fire to look right, and so they had to use real fire. So I appreciate. I mean, even now, I've seen them try to do fire, and it's just not. Whenever they do fake fire, you can see it fake fire. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, when Dumbledore does that fire, you can tell it's fake. It's honestly, they've come a long way because it looks really good. And I know a ton of the budget for that movie went to that sequence alone. When he puts the fire... When Dumbledore puts the fire over the lake or whatever, they spent a lot of money on that, and it looks really good. But as good as it looks, your eye still looks at it and go, it's still fake. It's still fake. So I appreciate that in this film they used. I know we're talking about two completely different time frames. This movie came out in 1992, a long time ago. But I appreciate that they used real fire for this and didn't try to use some kind of technology or whatnot. It looks great. And at least, the plan didn't go the way they wanted, but at least they trapped it. That's what I'm like, okay, well, at least they got the damn thing in the big steel cage or whatever, even though everything didn't go as well and people got hurt. I love the real subtle foreshadow of, everything's on fire. They trapped it, and then Dylan tries one of the sprinklers. It doesn't work, but then once they get it trapped, he tries another sprinkler, and it does work, and the water comes down, and the bucket pops, cracks or splits. That little subtle, like, we're going to do this later, with the alien at the end. I liked that. It wasn't the in your face foreshadow when he's like who's laying these from Aliens. I said it in the last review. Who's laying these eggs? It must be something we haven't seen yet. That's like, that foreshadow like hits you in the face. Bonk. I mean, you can't not see that. This one was a very subtle foreshadow with the bucket busting open, because you don't really expect that to be. I mean, that happens. That's natural. It happens. I wouldn't expect that to be something that happens later on. So I liked it. I appreciated that. It was really neat. Permission to terminate denied. Of course. Of course. I love that she asked, even though there was no way of being able to do it, no feasible way of doing it, but she asked anyway because she wants to make sure that they want it, and she's trying to prove a point that all they care about is it. Oh my God, like, what the fuck? God, like, So I just got through saying, Gallic's not crazy. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's neurotic, and he has a warped thought process. But the fact that he had to see it again, I don't know what it was. Was it what? Did he want to commit suicide? Did he think it was a deity? Did he think? I don't know. But that, oh my God, that he went against everything to see it again. I'll do what you want. Does he think it's a god, a deity? I wonder. Because he's very remorseful about hurting those guys. I'm sorry. When the guy, he does slit his throat to get past him to let it out. He knows what he's doing. He's not necessarily crazy, but his desire to see it again outweighs everything. It's interesting. Oh man! And then we find out Ripley. Ripley has one inside of her. I don't remember ever expecting it. So when she goes there to like, oh, I've got to check. That's when I first was like, oh, you know what? She probably has one in her. I don't think I remember suspecting when she was sick that she had one in her. I just was like, okay, she's sick. But as soon as she was like, I need to get a body scan, then I was like, you know what? That's the perfect storyline. She's got one inside her. And then it turns out to be a queen, of course. It won't kill me. I'm carrying a queen. That desire to go see it and test whether it'll know if she has one in her. That's interesting. It's a really good subplot point for Ripley, because at that point she knows she has one in her. She knows she wants to die at this point. She should not allow this one to come out because it is a queen. She knows. I don't know how she knows, but she knows. And so she goes to look for the alien. I think part of her is hoping the alien will not know that she's impregnated and will kill her. But of course, it doesn't kill her. And the damn company got a copy of the scan. Of course they, damn it. How is that still transmitting? But apparently somehow the EEV is still transmitting, and they got a copy of the scan, and of course they want Ripley. Yes. Oh, such a fantastic, just about I could talk about every scene with Charles S. Dutton. I really could. But I love the scene. Again, another intense, another very well done, dramatic piece when she goes to him and it's like, I need you to kill me. And then eventually he's like, so here again we get multiple pieces of Dylan's personality. At first he sympathizes with her, and then he's like, yes, of course I'll kill you. And then he's like, no, I need your help to kill it. Fuck you. Like, I don't care what happens. I need to kill it. And then she makes the deal with him. Look, if I help you kill it, you kill me. And he's like, no problem. I'll do it quick, easy, and painless. Oh, it's such a great scene. Such a wonderful scene. They both do a really good job in that scene. The writer must have loved Charles S. Dutton as much as I do, because he gave him so many great, monologues, great pieces in this film. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. I really can't say enough about him. And here is, another note. I'm talking about killing that big motherfucker. That motivational scene where he's telling them, oh, I forgot you're the guy that made a deal with God to live forever. What are we supposed to do? We fight back. I'm for killing that thing. You want to die on your feet or on your knees begging? I'm not one for begging. He's such a great, powerful character that he's created, and he does it wonderfully. That whole part where they're talking about, no, we need to fight back, we need to kill it, because the company only wants to keep it. And if they get here, then not only will they keep that one, but they're going to get the one out of Ripley, and that'll be nothing but bad news. Nothing but bad news. So I love these parts with him. That motivational part of come on, let's fight back. Let's get it. Let's not just sit around and wait for it to kill us. It started. Oh, it started. So once they finally decide how to do it, the where they're going to trap it, all those tunnels that lead to that one room that lead to the piston that drop the hot lead. I love when it starts and you start. I think this is the first time you really see through the alien's eyes, and whatever filter they have on the camera, and it looks almost like it's a slight fish angle, fish eye. It's not like a dramatic fish eye where everything looks rounded, but it definitely looks like maybe a partial fish eye. I don't know what exactly that. I'm not a cinematographer, so I don't know exactly what lens they're looking through, but it's such a great lens. And then obviously they've sped up the movement so that we're kind of looking through its eyes. And I love the idea of like going as it's crawling along the wall, going along the wall and upside. I love that part where they're running after it. They're trying to trap it. They're closing all the doors and everybody's yelling back and forth, and you see it moving around. Again, the only parts that suck are the parts where you actually see it when it's computer. I get that those parts suck, but you got to kind of like, okay. I mean, it really looks like a cartoon drawn, like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I mean, it looks really, really bad. But if you just get past that, this whole sequence is really cool and really intense, because where's it going to go? And then when you see the one guy, he's running and he gets grabbed and pulled just before he gets into the piston area, you're like, you start thinking as the audience, oh my God, is this going to work at all? Like, holy shit, has this alien figured out that this is where they wanted to go, that they're trying to draw him in? Because we know the aliens are smart. We know that they are intelligent. They don't necessarily have a language, a notable language. They have a communication. They definitely communicate with each other, but we never see them, quote unquote, talk. But they do have a level of an intense level, a really high level of intelligence. So at this part, I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, has he figured out? Is this going to work at all? And then, of course, the beautiful, wonderful idea to, the accidental idea to threaten Ripley. And that's what makes it motivated to like go after, whoa, protect Ripley, because Ripley has the queen. Ripley has one in it, and that's my survival or whatnot. So the alien must know that Ripley has a queen, because I don't think it would be that protective of just another, I said in the last video, male, female. We call it queen, so, I'm assuming that it's a female and that the soldiers are male. So just because I say that doesn't mean they're xenomorphs, so do they have a sex? I don't know. But we keep calling it a queen in the film. So male and female is how I label them. I think that the male must know that Ripley has a female in her, because he wouldn't be that protective of just another male. At least I don't think. So it's a brilliant idea to have her threatened by Dylan to get the alien to the motivation to like go after him or go after them, and then they slowly draw it into where they want it, which is where they're going to drop the lead works in, which is great. I hate seeing Dylan go, but that part is so intense and so wonderful, where he's saying, when he's in there and it says, you go, the deal is we kill it, then you. First it, then you. I'm not going anywhere without you. And then when she goes up and then he starts going up and the alien comes after him, and then he realizes that the only way to keep it in there is for him to stay. God'll take care of you now, sister. Pour the lead. I love that part. It's such a great part. And then, of course, very Dylan, very much the character that when the alien finally does come at him, is that all you got? Is that all you got? Come on. It's such a great part. It is so Dylan. And then eventually, he eventually it kills him. And then they pour the lead. I don't know if I believed that when they poured the lead that it was gone, that it was dead, even though they have this wonderful Elliot Goldenthal decided at that point to put a triumphant music in, and we think that it's done. But of course, true horror film fashion, what happens? It jumps out. Of course, it jumps out, and then they turn the sprinklers on, and then we get that what we were waiting for from the foreshadows. It explodes. Okay, let it go. I don't know if that necessarily would have happened. Who knows? It's not real, so we can say whatever's going to happen, and it doesn't matter. I do like that through that whole ending part. I've already talked about the whole, trying to trap it, but throughout that whole part, we see the landing of the quote unquote rescue ship. We see the landing, them coming out, them going in. They meet, I think Aaron. I think they meet Aaron, and Aaron's trying to take them there. So throughout the whole thing, we're doing these cuts in and out, in and out, in and out, scenes every once in a while of them coming. If they'd have just showed up a little earlier, they would have gotten what they wanted, but they don't. And this Bishop character that comes with them, I don't trust him at all. In the director's version, if I remember correctly, in the regular version, I remember feeling like that has to be an android, simply because of the way he gets hit, and he gets the big cut behind his head, and his ears hanging off, basically, and he doesn't seem to react much to it. And I thought to myself, he's got to be a fucking android. Just because they made the blood look different doesn't mean he's not an android. That was my thought about the original theatrical release. But if you watch the director's version, they make it a completely different point to make sure that character is in pain because of the cut behind his ear. And he yells, "I'm not an android." I still don't trust him. I still don't trust it. I would rather believe that Ripley was in space for 200 years, which means this guy could not be a human being. He's got to be an android if he looks like Bishop. And he's trying to say that he's the one they modeled Bishop after. Okay, well, maybe you were the first Bishop android. I don't know. I just don't trust that he's human. Not at all. And then her suicide is fantastic. I mean, that has to be how this ends. Absolutely. I love it. So I'm not mad at the theatrical release where she's falling. She commits suicide. She goes backwards, and then the alien pops out and she grabs it, and then she goes into the lava or whatnot. I'm not mad about that. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's perfectly fine. But when you watch the director's version and she goes in, it never pops out of her, and I actually appreciate that more. I like that. Because we're not going for a huge dramatic effect. We already know that it's in there. We don't know when it's going to come out. I don't need to see it come out. I've already seen it on the EEV scanner. I already know it's in there. We don't need to see it come out and then die as the audience. I don't. So I appreciate the realness of the not trying to be over dramatic, of her just simply committing suicide, and it's just her, not the alien. It's such a great ending piece. Well, it's not the very, very end, but it is the end. Such a great ending to Ripley's journey as a person, as a character. And then the very last line, after she commits suicide, they leave, they close the facility down, and the very, very last line is the ending recording from Alien, the first Alien, when she does that recording just before they go into hypersleep. So I love that. It's such a great idea to have that, the ending line of the third one, and I feel like it's a beautiful ending to a wonderful trilogy. This trilogy is not like others that I've seen. Like, you watch the... I mean, I know that there's more, but at one point there was only 3 diehards. And, like, I love the first one. It's fantastic. It's classic. The second one was so-so. My mom loves it, and I get it. Okay, it's fine. It's so-so. And then the third one was so amazing. I watched it almost as much as I watched Terminator 2. I watched it over and over and over. And I loved that trilogy, but it did have a drop in the middle where the second one really wasn't all that good. And there's a lot of trilogies that really do a good job, but there are pieces to, like, the sequels that I'm like, the Bourne films, I love the first one. The first one is so great. The second one's pretty good, but it has some lackluster parts. The third one I like a lot. I love the story, but it wasn't quite as intense and as exciting as the first one. So there are some really, really good trilogies out there. The Lord of the Rings trilogies. I love the first one. The first one blows me away. The second one leaves something to be desired, and the third one was like, there are parts of it I really liked, and honestly, parts of it I really didn't like. So there's a lot of trilogies out there that fall short in certain parts. This trilogy, Aliens, Alien Squared, as I've already told you, I gave a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 to Alien, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5 for Aliens, and the only reason why I can't give a 10 to Alien 3 is that really bad computer animated Alien. Otherwise, it could easily be as good as the other ones. Now, like I said in my last review, if I'm really being nitpicky, the first one I enjoy more than the second one because the entire thing keeps you engaged and intense. Whereas, the entire thing keeps you engaged and intense no matter how many viewings I've seen it, no matter how many times I've seen it. Aliens, there are parts where it keeps me absolutely engaged and no matter how many times I've seen it, and I'm sure I've seen Aliens more times than I've seen Alien, but there are parts to Aliens where I kind of almost feel like checked out. Some of the big action sequences, I'm like, okay, we're doing this again, and it's fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. I like it, but it doesn't keep me as engaged throughout the whole thing as the first one. This one, Aliens 3, absolutely keeps me engaged the entire time. There are slow points, but the slow points are important and worth it and so well acted that I continue to be engaged in the entire thing. The only thing that takes me out of it is, like I've said, that computer animated freaking alien that just looks really bad. All the great, real animatronic or whatever makeup aliens look great in the third one, but the computer just leaves something to be desired. So anyway, and I'm not even gonna... I say trilogy because I love these 3. I really kind of wish they hadn't have done Alien Resurrection. It's entertaining. I will say it's entertaining. I don't not like it. Not at all. It's nowhere near the same rating. I would not give it the same rating as these. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 stars maybe. I would definitely not rate it like I rated these 3. So I'm not going to do a review of it. There were some fun parts to it. I like the change. Ripley's not really Ripley anymore, and that's kind of cool. And we get to have a different character there. I kind of enjoyed that. What other parts did I like about it? It was just action packed. I really liked. Oh, I'm so sorry. Your name is not popping in my mind right now. I love Cole. Who's? Oh my God. I'm so sorry your name is not popping on my mind. Alien Resurrection. Cole is played by Winona Ryder. Wow, I can't believe that didn't pop in my brain. Anyway, I love Winona Ryder in that movie. She does such a good job at not being an android and then being an android. She does a cool job. Brad Dourif is wonderful in that movie. He's so creepy, like he is in so many other things. You know, that movie, there are parts to it that I like. I am entertained when I watch it. It's not like I don't like it. It's just I wish they hadn't have done it. And then all the prequels, okay, fine. The prequels went a little too, for me, a little too technical, and I'm like, I can't figure this out. Like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. But never once did I feel like that in these three films. Never once did I feel like I'm a little lost. I don't get what they're trying to say or do. I don't really get where they're going with this. But absolutely, the prequels, I felt like that multiple times. And I just went, I don't... Okay, whatever. And I kind of more or less checked out. I've only seen those ones once or twice. Like, didn't they do two of them, like Prometheus and then something else? I can't remember. I only saw them once or twice, and it just, for me, they weren't for me. The first three are great, are fantastic, and that's why I did the review on those three. So, thank you very much for listening. This was a semi-short video as well. It wasn't like super into the book, so all I had were my notes. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll get you another video as soon as possible.